I'm sitting at home right now. I haven't received any messages from friends, and I'm not finding any interest on dating apps. Most of my attempted relationships have failed for various reasons, and most of the time, I have no one to talk to except my dogs. Is it always like this? I'm 28, and I constantly reach out to people but never seem to have anyone who actually wants to talk to me or be around me. Is it just a victim mentality? Or is this what life is like as a single male? Story 1. I firmly believe that many of the United States challenges right now are closely related to our lack of community. Social life outside of work-oriented activities is essentially non-existent once you enter the workforce, and interacting over the internet is a very fragile replacement. Story 2. I want to express my gratitude to all of you. There have been many kind words, thoughts, and supportive love here and in my messages, and I truly appreciate it. Today has been particularly challenging, but your responses have encouraged me to persevere. From the bottom of my heart, I am sending you all a virtual hug. What a wonderful community this is. I will continue to seek that physical connection. Story 3. I understand how you feel. I'm always reaching out to my friends and checking in, even calling for a chat, but I often receive little in return. I don't expect anything from my friends. I only seek friendship. What I'm beginning to realize is that as people get older, I'm 30, their social circles tend to shrink, and they don't invest as much energy in social activities. Life also becomes more challenging and draining with age. Take some time to distance yourself. It may be difficult, but when your friends do reach out, it will feel rewarding. Story 4. Sadly, this is the case for more and more people these days. I believe it's a consequence of increased individualism and the notion of upholding it as the highest virtue a person can have. We are being trained to despise others and see everyone as either trouble or an impediment to our quest for self-actualization and perfection. I am no different. Numerous experiences have led me to turn away from just about everybody and suffer the consequences of being alone, for better or worse. Many people are, in fact, trouble as self-absorbed individuals tend to make bad friends. Between being increasingly busy, partially due to wage stagnation, and a strong dose of society-encouraged narcissism, we are losing our ability to build connections. Social media is the main tool many people use to socialize now. Yet, it is often used less as a means of connection and more as a platform for boasting about how great our lives are from our lonely private domains. We expect to be heard, but seldom listen. It is hard to maintain relationships when there is little give and take. So, no, you are not alone in feeling alone, not at all. It is disheartening, but in many so-called developed nations, we have backed ourselves into a corner that hints at a bleak future. I sometimes reflect on how the united part of the United States is a bit of a misnomer, as we are almost comically isolated and insist on being this way, even as it paralyzes the nation into inaction. Story 5. I am a 32-year-old male. My close friends are all married, and I am the only one who is still single. I text my sister more than anyone else. Other than that, I spend a lot of time on Reddit or playing video games. I talk to my cat when she is lying at the end of the bed. I have been single my entire life and have never had a relationship. Story 6. You're certainly not alone in feeling lonely. I am a 55-year-old Canadian who is unhappily married. I have some acquaintances but no real friends for a long time. Story 7. While I have my best friend, girlfriend, and her friends, I feel like an outsider due to my hobbies and interests. It seems that despite much discussion about how one should conduct themselves socially, many individuals do not make an effort to facilitate genuine connections. Additionally, there are numerous others who believe they can pressure people into social interactions, expecting a seamless social life with minimal effort. I understand that others cannot read our minds, but many are generally indifferent and do not want to befriend those who share the same communities. This indifference persists regardless of how low maintenance the friendship could be or how well-adjusted one might be. Story 8. I'm like you, except I don't reach out to anyone or make any attempts to find a girlfriend or friends. I don't care. I enjoy my nightly drives alone. I enjoy playing guitar alone. I enjoy cooking and eating alone. I'm content with being alone. Occasionally, I may feel a longing for companionship, but once you accept yourself, who you are, what you love, and what you want for your life, the rest fades away. I do miss being in love, but that's it. I don't know anyone around me worth loving. Most of the girls I've known had definite positives, but were also flawed to some degree. One purposefully missed my birthday after I made great effort for hers a month prior. Another would criticize everything I did and try to belittle me for it. One would call me a liar even though I've never lied to her. As for friends, I only have surface-level ones, and I never really cared for them. Now, I don't care to see them at all. I only miss one girl, not because I specifically miss her. I'd be fine never seeing her again, but I miss the feeling of being in love. That's all. She also did bad things to me, and I to her. I am a perfectionist. My standards are high, and those around me do not share my passion for music, philosophy, art, and theology. No one can keep up with these conversations, and it often ends up being me giving a speech about something. I live just outside a capital city. Finding someone worth loving is a difficult and rare pursuit. But there's beauty in being a loner. It's a unique life experience. So, find contentment in your life. It's the life you chose, whether you acknowledge it or not. Enjoy the beauty around you. Take your little pleasures where you can. Work towards your goals. Travel wherever you want to go. And hopefully, along your journey, you might meet some companions, but even if not, that's okay. The world is still beautiful. Story 9. Just life as a single male. You are often perceived as having little value in society except for your productivity, which is often taken for granted. Story 10. Hey, your dogs are probably more interesting than all the others. Now you need to learn how to appreciate solitude. You're 28, you have plenty of time. Are you exercising or doing anything? Why are you not interested in dating apps? No matches? Also, if you're in the USA, it's a different lifestyle. In some countries in Europe and Latin America, you see people out and about until around 9 p.m. in the neighborhood, and there's vibrant activity happening. Story 11. I don't feel completely alone because I have good friends. However, the longer I remain single and the longer I go without dating, the worse I feel. I just want to be in a happy, healthy relationship. Feels impossible these days. I met someone on Sunday, asked for her number, and she agreed. We texted for a while, but then she suddenly stopped replying, and I haven't heard from her all day. What's the point anymore? Story 12. I realize this is normal for someone who hasn't found a partner to settle down with. My friends have their own responsibilities, so they may not have much free time to reach out to me unless they need something. Story 13. I am 29 and approaching 30. I feel like I am in the same situation as you. It can be frustrating, but I believe that if I don't go out and talk to people, I won't make more friends or develop the social connections I desire. However, work tires me out, and the stress about bills keeps me stuck in a cycle of just sitting on my couch and playing video games. Despite this, I remain optimistic that things will get better. Story 14. I am in this category, but it's partly my own fault. My job is hostile to having a personal life, and in the face of that adversity, I just gave up. I became a terminally online gamer when I wasn't working overtime, but even my gaming social groups faded with time. I've tried making friends on community servers for mutual interests, but it usually ends up with me just posting memes and participating in casual conversations without ever actually forming relationships. I'm not outgoing enough to direct message people and strike up conversations, and I'm clearly not the type of person others want to contact and befriend. In the rare instances that I do connect with someone, I'm not good at maintaining relationships due to my unstable working life and the fact that I have limited emotional and social intelligence. I try to imagine what I would do in my current circumstances if I were a healthier and more balanced person, and it's not much. There really aren't non-religious social opportunities that feel welcoming to older, single men. With so much discussion on inappropriate behavior and warning signs, it feels like existing as a man with no friends and no obvious peer approval is like applying for jobs without any education or employment history. It would be one thing if I had just moved to a new area and could introduce myself as being new in town, but meeting new people without personal anecdotes, interests, or local friends to reference after living here for 20 years doesn't send many positive signals to newcomers. I don't think it would bother me as much if it were just me. If I were the lone weirdo with no friends, I think I could accept that I was the problem and just work until I die. But knowing there is a societal problem of extreme isolation and loneliness combined with the illusion of connection from social media adds an enormous layer of despair. Then there's the additional layer of the simple yet challenging advice of just go socialize. It sounds easy to bring lonely people together, but many of us ended up lonely for a reason. Those who experience social rejection often internalize it and reject themselves from interactions before they happen. Some people are lonely solely due to circumstances that might change, but many are lonely because we are socially disconnected and do not know how to fix ourselves. Problems like this at this scale cannot be resolved by the limited number of available therapists. I wish I had a positive, hopeful note to end on. Perhaps one upside is that people seem to be increasingly aware of these issues, as other comments in this thread demonstrate. The question is, I suppose, how do we rebuild a sense of community locally, not just online, in a time when people are increasingly abandoning religion because we do not believe it is true while our culture is deeply divided along many lines? Story 15. I feel alone, and I don't like it. I cannot tell anyone because they might call me weak. So, I have to deal with all my issues alone and just smile. Story 16. Hobbies that have created community bonds. That should not define the life of a single man. I love solitude, but I have hobbies that connect me with others. I enjoy being single, though it can be beneficial until you meet someone. Story 17. I am a 28-year-old man, recently divorced. I lost many friends from my last relationship and have had to move back home with my parents. While being around my family is a benefit, it is not exactly ideal. My only social life is at work, and even that is not very fulfilling. I feel stuck and lost in life. Story 18. Other than my mom and my two younger brothers, I believe no one would know if I suddenly passed away. It is a realistic scenario that if I died in my apartment, no one would be aware of it for several days or even call the police for a welfare check. Story 19. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even the black sheep of my family. I'm the outsider. For context, I still live with my parents and haven't attended university or college due to financial issues. I am working now, though. I've tried to reach out to my parents, but there seems to be a brick wall. Feels like we are speaking different languages. It also doesn't help that I experience mental health issues that flare up from time to time. They don't understand it or make an effort to. I keep being told that I need to pray about it and be healed, that spirits are attacking me. I tried to explain to my mother what I was going through when she asked, but it didn't go well. She ended up shouting at me and told me to pray about it. I was in tears trying to explain. I've learned never to cry in front of anyone. My extended family is full of drama. Talking to them is like playing chess. I have to keep one eye open for a sneak attack. I've attempted to reach out and make new friends, but it doesn't seem to be working. Not many people share my interests, and others are too busy, while I feel too exhausted to keep pushing. Most of my friendships have been shallow. Every time I try to connect with someone, it never truly lasts. I'm always feeling starved for connection and never content. I pray for change, but my faith is waning. Story 20. Hey, keep your head up. Can I suggest that you lose the dating apps? Get rid of them and find someone in real life. The best way to meet someone is by doing things you enjoy. Try a social outing for singles. Dating apps are like professional networking sites for casual relationships, which is not ideal. If you want something meaningful, focus on creating genuine memories. Story 21. I feel that way too. The world is full of strangers and people who won't stay in my life. It doesn't help that I'm not the most socially adept person either. Story 22. I am a newly separated 38-year-old man and I've never felt lonelier. Friendships faded during my marriage as life became busy and my children took priority over socializing. Now, without a partner to talk to and with my children not here to occupy my time, I find that the few friends I do have are caught up in their own lives. I am trying to remain positive and build a new life, but it is disheartening that no one reaches out to check on me. When I message them, the replies are often brief. Yes, I feel completely alone right now. Story 23. I am physically alone at home, and I have no third space. At work, I have coworkers, but they are not very bright, so I may as well be alone. All in all, it's not just feeling alone. Actually, being alone is where the sense of isolation comes from. I know I could talk to friends and family. I know I have friends and family who've told me I can talk to them. However, I don't want to. Not only does talking digitally, such as through chat apps or social media, remove the personal component that is psychologically necessary, it's also unfulfilling. It's not quite what you need, similar to the difference between masturbation and having sex. Sure, it's nice sometimes, but it's nothing compared to being there in person with someone else, which is also more mentally healthy for you. Alternatively, if you want a family-friendly metaphor, it's similar to having a regular serving of vegetables rather than just taking a multivitamin. The regular serving of vegetables is healthier than just the multivitamin. While the multivitamin will suffice, it would be more beneficial overall to have the vegetables. Another user hit the nail on the head when they said that a lot of the social issues in the United States stem from our overall lack of emphasis on community. The problem is, where does the root of that start? Money and time. We do not have enough money to go out and interact with the community, and even if we do have the money, we do not have the time. Some people out there do not have enough of either. In addition to money and time, there are also energy levels. The motivation to engage socially is often nearly non-existent, or perhaps just slightly there. It's truly challenging because having a social life would invigorate one to go out more, but if you don't engage and do not have one, then you have less motivation and energy to do so. At the core of this is being the support or the glue in any social or friend group. It can be exhausting if you are the only one organizing events or making time to hang out. If you stop for even a moment, everyone tends to drift away. Sometimes it's not as easy as people say regarding just reaching out or just asking me. Sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes we want to be the ones who feel needed or wanted. Sometimes we want to go with the flow for a change. Personally, I found a little trickle of what satisfies my need for socialization: playing online. Many people play online for their socialization, but this is not the right place to seek it. Socialization online should only supplement an already active social life. It should not, in any way, be used as a primary source of socialization. That being said, I hop into whatever multiplayer online game I'm currently enjoying, and I try to do kind things for people. Some players are great and we chat. Others are not, and I simply move on. Other than that, hello darkness, my old friend. Story 24. I have 4 friends, yet we don't communicate at all. Most of the time, I am the one starting the conversation. Story 25. I believe we are mostly alone. The way we live now feels like every person for themselves. If you can't help yourself, it becomes your problem, and there is little that people are willing to do even if they are able to. Even a simple thing like having a friend can develop into a dependency. Many relationships fail for various reasons, and we tend to avoid them, partly to avoid offending people or intruding on their busy and stressful lives. Story 26. I really dislike the Reddit algorithm today. I am in the same situation. I noticed a shift when COVID happened. The lockdown and the life changes that occurred during that time made me mentally check out, and I never really got back in. For years later, I recently had a breakup with my best friend. We moved across the country together, and now it's over for good. It feels strange going from having a partner to share new experiences with to being stuck at home alone all day. Since moving, my original friends back home and those who relocated are scattered. I am falling off the radar in keeping up with them, which is more about me than anything else. The budding friend group here is nice, but I don't feel a closeness with them or know them well yet. This has been one of the most isolating times in my life. I'm honestly a bit terrified of it. I was talking with my new therapist, and she mentioned that what I feel is normal. I may have always had a sense of who I am, but drastic life changes can completely alter that, and honestly, I don't know anymore. What I do know is that I am scared, and I guess that's okay for now. I can take comfort in knowing it's not just me. I really hope we all find our people and communities where we belong. Story 27. If you want to talk to your friends, just call them. If they don't answer, don't worry. This also applies to girls. Have something to say, whether it's a joke, a story about your life, or really anything to discuss. Ask questions. People love talking about themselves. Lastly, make it easy to end the phone call. It's frustrating when you can't simply say you have to go without any explanation. Story 28. I have felt completely alone my entire life, whether at work, with a partner, in society, or in my beliefs. Everything I do makes me feel isolated in a society like this. Story 29. I'm 31, fairly decent looking, and don't have a problem making friends or finding a partner. I prefer to be alone at this stage. Eventually, you'll realize that it's a trading game with everyone. Everyone either wants something or needs something. I decided to go to work, make money, and return to my cave to play Tarkov. I know I can go out at any time, but knowing how people are these days, God forbid you call them and say, "Hey, let's meet up." Nowadays, it's almost like you have to make an appointment even with your close friends. I said that's not for me. One quote I like to live by is, "Your vibe attracts your tribe." You're not alone. You just haven't found your people. The world is beautiful, and so are the people within it. Enjoy your life and your day. Story 30. It gets worse as you get older. Try to start your own community, such as a men's group. Our men's group in the community is growing rapidly in membership and interest. It is simply a group of men in an organized setting discussing their feelings and offering support. The first thing most men say is, "We really needed something like this. I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to. This is really important." Story 31. I am a lady here, and I send you lots of love. Please note that you are not the only one who feels alone. As I speak, I am in the same boat as you. I wake up, take a shower, have breakfast, watch some content online or catch a movie, then head back to bed when I have no work to do. Literally, I can be in my apartment without moving out. Feels so lonely. I have no pets, but am planning on getting a cat sometime soon. I just want to let you know that you are not alone. Just find ways to enjoy your solitude, and you will find peace in it. Lots and lots of love. Story 32. Is it always like this? It seems many people are in the same situation, but no, it isn't always like this for everyone. From reading some of your replies, it is probably different for you than for many others since you're in a small town with fewer social options. Living in the United Kingdom on the outskirts of London, there is no shortage of social options and people to socialize with. I am currently somewhat withdrawn out of personal choice, but I have contacts and can spend time with others when I make the effort. I mention this not to boast, but to highlight that it isn't always like this, and things may change for you. It might require relocating closer to a city or a similar area. I am not really sure what socializing is like in general across the United States. It seems there are not many pubs in comparison. Story 33. I'm in India. I feel the same as you. After hearing you out, I think the American dream is not what it is portrayed to be. Story 34. How many of us actually feel totally alone? The best estimate is 1,651,985. A chatbot tells me that 27% of men over the age of 24 experience the symptoms described. There are 6,118,464 members of this community. The best estimate remains 1,651,985. Story 35. I am adopted. The feeling of aloneness has been constant for as long as I can remember. I feel alone and am still trying to figure out where I fit in. Story 36. I have my parents, siblings, and extended family. I have a few friends, but I don't spend a lot of time with them. If you don't have a partner or children, that's basically how the rest of life will be. Story 37. Where are you in Australia? Mate? Can always be like this, and as you get older, it becomes more likely. Is it getting you down, and if so, how bad? As far as people not wanting to be around you, don't take it personally. They may just be busy. It's a good thing that you're not into dating apps, as those can be overwhelming. Personally, I only have a small circle of friends, so when I feel like doing something, there aren't many options. This is when I fill my time with activities I enjoy. Sometimes, depending on my general mood, I may feel alone. This is when I need to motivate myself to get moving, which usually involves exercise. Push yourself, mate, and get out and about. If there's any anxiety holding you back, overcome it. You're young enough to make friends or do whatever is necessary to make you happy. Story 38. I feel genuinely alone. Nevertheless, I love it. As someone who identifies with being alone but not the uncomfortable part of it, don't speak about being alone as if it is a dumpster. Can feel that way, but some of us love it here. This still provides important insight into you. If you don't like it here, some outsiders may feel the same way. Go outside, engage with others, and be so present that people will want to talk to you, whether they like it or not. It's something natural. Some will end up getting closer to you. Take care of them, help them, and let them get to know you. If all that fails, remember that there are always options. Okay, that last one was a joke. Jokes aside, this will take effort and you might end up feeling upset. Still, it's the only thing you can do. Alternatively, you might start to realize the benefits of being alone and find that you don't hate it here as much as you thought. You're gonna die someday anyway, so decide how you want things to be from now until then. Not doing anything is also a choice. Story 39. I have been married for 27 years and feel the same. Of course, I have lost touch with most of my friends since getting married. My wife only has time for her friends and family. Story 40. I do. I got out of a difficult relationship, and my family isn't solid. At times, I feel like it's just me and my pets alone in this world. Story 41. Start a hobby such as golf, fishing, gaming, art, cards, or martial arts. These activities are great ways to fill that void and meet new friends. Story 42. I don't think it's a victim mentality. However, by the time I was 27 or 28, I was in a very similar situation as you. It's really just part of adulthood. I'm 37 now, and I've definitely had phases since turning about your age where I didn't really hang out with more than 2 or 3 people outside of my family. And guess what? I like it. I learned that I don't have to be lonely when I'm alone. Loneliness is not real. It's a state of mind. Of course, you need to socialize from time to time to avoid becoming friends with a volleyball. But being alone doesn't have to be negative. Story 43. I'm 30, and this feeling really resonates with me right now. I have close friends, but for some reason, I often feel lonely and isolated. My dating life is challenging, but I'm making an effort. I believe this is common for many men, and it's okay to feel this way. We just need to continue striving for something better. At least that's what I keep reminding myself. Story 44. There is no party like a lively gathering, as a lively gathering is unique. I am going to share something real with you. We all experience highs and lows. You do not understand what a low is until you fall from a high. It is easy to stay down and feel sorry for oneself. This is why confidence is appealing. People do not want to be around someone who is sad. Since you have dogs, take them out. Visit a nature center or go for a long walk. Get outside and explore. Surprise yourself. Story 45. The best advice is to put your phone down and go for a walk. It is the quickest way to lighten your mood. Story 46. I recently got out of a relationship and moved, so I feel more isolated than usual. I am 40 years old and have been on my own for most of that time. This morning, I joined a running club and it was great. People asked if I would be coming again next week. Hopefully, I have found my way back into polite society. Story 47. Alone or lonely? One is a state of mind, the other is a physical condition. I have been alone for almost 16 years, but I am not lonely. As others have said, social media is to blame. It is easier to chat with an avatar on a message board than to connect with people in real life. You are an avatar and you posted a question to a group of other avatars. What makes it even less personal is that most of the people here have a cute version of Snoo as their avatar and not an actual picture of themselves. My avatar is a current picture of me, and I want people to see the man behind the words. However, I would suggest connecting with other people by finding a hobby, taking fitness classes, or volunteering for community service. Story 48. This is called depression and you are suffering. It isn't always like this, especially at your young age. If you can, get a doctor's opinion and consider a few therapy sessions to talk through your feelings. By all means, keep talking to your dogs. My dog keeps me sane, And there is nothing wrong with depending on man's best friend. Good luck. You sound like a great person. Story 49. It's not just single men. A significant portion of the population lacks a social life, likely due to the gradual elimination of third places, social venues besides home and work, and an over-reliance on social media to maintain social networks. If your friends aren't reaching out to you or are not responding when you contact them, they don't sound much like friends. If you don't already have one, I recommend getting involved in a hobby that will help you meet new people and hopefully make new, better friends. Story 50. I just spent days scrolling through Twitter and Reddit, and sometimes watching streams on Twitch. I have no motivation to approach others or initiate conversations. Story 51. I understand since I don't have many people in my life, and I usually have to initiate everything for there to be a conversation. Story 52. You're not alone. Our generation and the newer ones are experiencing something unprecedented. We all grew up playing video games, browsing the internet, socializing online and through text, and generally experiencing technology to the maximum. This has greatly impacted our collective minds regarding socialization. I'm turning 30, and I have no real friends apart from my girlfriend and coworkers. Even she has just online friends. This has become more normal, and we are all feeling the consequences. Hopefully, it informs us on how to better raise our own children and manage and foster community. Story 53. I am almost 30. My friends and I have different schedules. I can be available on weekdays but not on weekends. They are usually available on weekends. So we came to the conclusion that we had to schedule physical meetups at least once or twice every 2 weeks, whether it's for lunch, breakfast, or even shopping as a group. My life brightens whenever I meet them. Story 54. I am totally alone, but it is a lot better than having negative people in my life, and that seems to be my only other option. Story 55. I'm right there and totally fine with it for a reason. However, I still feel there's something wrong with this isolated way of life despite being comfortable in it. Story 56. Maybe this comes as a relief, but no one cares about us single men. There is both joy and pain in this situation. The joy is that you are free to do as you please, and no one is judging or correcting you, which preserves your energy. You actually have the luxury of being bored. You just need to develop the habit of going out more and meeting new people. Don't try to meet people to go out with online. They are always online and not out in the real world. Story 57. I actually still live with my family. I moved back in with them after I broke up with my ex last year. I don't plan on moving out anytime soon either, given the state of the housing market, and it's actually nice being back with them again. I get a decent amount of interaction every day. However, I still feel lonely. Romantically, it is challenging. I thought the lack of intimacy would be what I missed most, but it's not even in the top 5 for me. I miss just having someone to call during my hour-long commute home. I've listened to so many podcasts and music that sometimes I drive home in silence and think. Luckily, I have a decent number of friends, but most of them are so busy that the only time I can hang out with them is when we are playing video games, which I try to limit as much as possible. I mostly do it for the social aspect at this point. Do you have any hobbies? I love football and motorcycles as well as cars. I sometimes attend meetups such as Cars and Coffee and meet new people, although I've never developed a strong friendship through that. Mostly just strangers, which can get tiring after a while. Football is great because you can go to a bar with the game on, and participating in fantasy leagues can also be fun. Story 58. I am autistic and I feel totally alone all the time, but here is what helps. Just be authentically yourself, do what you love, and be the life of the party. People will gravitate towards you if you do that. Story 59. They broke the families and now society is broken too. It will not be fixed in our lifetime. However, that doesn't mean you will always be lonely. I believe loneliness is a state of mind that can be overcome by embracing solitude. I recommend getting a cat or two to accompany your dog and trying to make a friend instead of focusing on dating. I moved to a new town a few years ago, and now I talk on the phone with 3 people, have occasional lunches, and go on walks with one of them. It takes time and a personal touch. Have a great day. Story 60. It's just how it is. Just keep yourself busy enough so your mind won't wander on such thoughts. Story 61. I understand, and this came as a disappointing realization for me. We are not valued if we do not provide value to others. To be involved and valued, we need to go outside, attend places and events where others are present, and offer our assistance. Pay your dues, and then people will be your friends, and you can ask them to help contribute to your vision. Story 62. I'm not alone, but I often feel very lonely. There are a few places to go, but the groups tend to be insular. It's challenging to break in unless you participate in meetups designed for that purpose, and even then, establishing connections can be difficult. I enjoy visiting parks and the library, but I usually end up walking, running, reading, or exploring on my own. I haven't really felt connected to my community for a while. Story 63. I've been there. It got better, but at one point, I had to tell my closest friends outright that they were my closest. Story 64. I live with my parents and have 2 online friends I talk to regularly. Other than that, I don't have a social life. I don't have any friends I can hang out with in person, and I've never had a girlfriend, nor do I expect to have one in the near future. My life mainly consists of going to work and coming home. Story 65. I'm 36 and used to hate the feeling of being alone, but I have finally accepted and learned to enjoy the silence while working on hobbies and projects. I continue to learn new things, and after experiencing multiple failed relationships, I realized that I was the common denominator. Now, I believe I'm better off alone and appreciate what I can do by myself. Story 66. You are not alone. Despite being connected to anyone in the world, it is now easier to stay at home alone doing nothing than to spend time with people. Story 67. I can relate. I am 28 and feel like I have wasted every meaningful connection I had, which makes me wonder why I am alone on birthdays and similar occasions. It is tough. Story 68. Maintaining friendships takes a lot of work. I have taken on the role of event organizer in my friend group because I know they are relaxed about doing nothing. Story 69. The way cities in the United States are designed is focused on cars, which has led to a lack of community. People do not know their neighbors or interact with one another. Many individuals rush home, only to leave their houses again to drive somewhere. Why are local businesses prohibited from being built alongside residential areas? Why are the elements that foster community, such as coffee shops, barbershops, beauty salons, bakeries, and restaurants, often restricted? Everything is so distant that people feel compelled to drive quickly to their destinations and return home without any opportunity for genuine human interaction. Where can teenagers and young adults socialize? Malls used to provide this space, but they have disappeared, leaving no place for people to exist and engage with one another. Simple activities like hanging out with friends now require careful planning and effort. Without these community spaces that enable social interaction, engaging with others has become so challenging that many choose to avoid it altogether. To effect change, it is essential to get involved in local government. Seek out groups that are working to make a difference. Involvement can also lead to new friendships and connections. In my area, there are initiatives aimed at removing harmful regulations that contribute to community division. There are efforts to enhance our neighborhoods by advocating for bike lanes and public transportation. Story 70. I thought this was normal, especially when you grow older. Just do what you want and build confidence. I have no close friends, just acquaintances. Story 71. I feel that I have had this experience for most of my life. To this day, nobody has accepted an invitation from me and followed through. I have been invited to a decent number of events, but most of them were based on what I could provide in a working capacity. I still accepted these invitations because I was feeling lonely. I reached a point where I was fed up and lived for my brother when I had the opportunity to flip houses with someone. Since then, I have had the goal to build a house far enough in the countryside to be isolated from the world if I so choose. Now I have a wife whom I met along that path wanting the same thing. Honestly, she and our son are all I need. I still don't talk to anyone really outside of a business capacity, and I'm perfectly fine with it. She can be a handful at times, but I never thought I would need so few people in my life to be content. Story 72. Do you play any games? We could see if we can find a common game to enjoy together online. Story 73. I am 27 and single. While I enjoy some communication with friends, I understand they have their own lives and futures to build, so I focus on my own stability and ventures. I suggest finding a hobby or something that takes time to learn and master. I learn languages and enjoy photography. With languages, I have accumulated many acquaintances from overseas, which can make communication challenging due to different time zones. We often just send each other videos. I admit that sometimes I see videos filled with hopeless romanticism and yearn for companionship. However, I am not in a position to pursue any relationships, which is why I focus on my hobbies. Story 74. Same. None of my friends ever reach out, and I always get ignored in the group chat. I've been ghosted twice already, and the girl I am talking to doesn't seem interested anymore. Even though I thought I treated her well. I only have my cat. Story 75. I believe it's really just a matter of putting yourself out there. I am part of a church-oriented social group, but I still try to find ways to meet people outside of work and the gym. I seek musical events and similar activities, which helps me to be more social. I mostly live with the mindset of going out for myself no matter what I do. Even if it's just walking around a plaza or spending time in malls and campuses, there's always a place for me to go. Ultimately, I do it all for myself. I keep in mind that I might meet someone, but I've also learned to shift that mindset to believe that someone can meet me. This creates high self-esteem and puts me in a less victimized mentality. I know it can be tough sometimes, but trust me, you never know until you try. I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking, I wish I had done more. I wish I had tried a little harder. There's always more life to live. I hope this helps. Story 76. Everyone is alone, but there is comfort in enjoying solitude. The other option is being codependent or a social butterfly. I was the latter in my 20s and am now basically a hermit in my 40s. I have never been happier. Story 77. I have no support system, no friends or family, no confidant. No one is coming to help me. It's just me. I am 25 years old. The thing I am most afraid of is making a wrong decision and ending up in the gutters, homeless and hungry. Story 78. I'm 27 and in a similar situation. I'd like to think I have intelligence, strength, athleticism, and attractiveness as well. Still, I hate my life and feel lonely. If it weren't for my dog, I might consider giving up. I'm not very socially skilled. I can be charismatic when I'm pretending around strangers or with people I trust closely, but I struggle to navigate the gray area of making friends and expressing interest in potential romantic partners. I tend to be polite and do not want to be bothersome, which is how I was raised. Life can be lonely, but we must push on for ourselves and others. If you are feeling suicidal and don't have a dog or a pet to love, I encourage you to get one. Could save your life and you might save theirs too. Story 79. No, you're not alone in this. Everyone I've had interest in is either gay, but later develops an interest in men and has a boyfriend, or is talking to someone and or has a boyfriend. My gaming friends have a closer bond with each other than I do with them now, so I just stopped showing up in the Discord server as frequently. I did make some work friends, which is the upside. Ever since my ex broke up with me, and I later found out she cheated on me, I haven't been as trusting towards people as I was before. All I really have is my 2 cats, Rabbit, and my mom. Story 80. I got divorced in 2023, and most of my friends did not care. I can count on one hand the number of people who reached out to me. So yeah, I feel pretty alone most of the time. That's what life is, though. Story 81. I'm in the exact same situation. However, I'm 5 years older than you and I have 2 cats. It is frustrating. A good match on a dating app would be really helpful right now, but it never seems to work out. Story 82. Never, but it's probably because I would never be passive. You're just waiting for people to message you. Go out and do literally anything. The world is teeming with people. Be around others. Go to the gym, sign up for a class, or sit in a coffee shop. Sign up for a friend-oriented app like Meetup and attend the first event you see in your area, no matter what it is. There is nothing except yourself stopping you from taking any of these actions. If you decide that it's too scary to do that, then you're choosing to be alone. Yes, deciding to be alone and then complaining about it is a victim mentality. You're saying, it isn't my job to do the things I want to do. It's other people's job to do them for me. It's you sitting at home, not using the options available to you, because it's psychologically easier to make your life everyone else's fault. But playing silly games wins you silly prizes. Blaming others might be easier, but your prize is having absolutely no social life and nothing but your own excuses for company. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.